The bell rang through the hallways of Eastridge High, echoing like a gunshot in a battlefield. Students shuffled from one class to the next with varying degrees of enthusiasm, but something in the air felt different today. Whispers spread like wildfire. There was a new teacher coming to 11B, the class notorious for breaking spirits. Not just academically, but mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. The students in 11B were infamously ruthless, led by a group of bullies who called themselves the Circle, a self-proclaimed elite of popularity and intimidation. At the heart of the circle was Blake Hunter, a towering linebacker on the school football team, his ego inflated by years of getting away with everything. Flanked by his shadowy lieutenants, Kirk, a sly manipulator with a cruel tongue, and Raven, a mean girl with the looks of a model and the venom of a cobra, they ruled the classroom like kings and queens. They had driven out 3 teachers in the past 2 years. Rumors swirled that one of them had a mental breakdown and left mid-lecture. Another supposedly wept in the staff room daily before quitting without notice. So when the classroom door opened and the new teacher walked in, all heads turned with a mixture of curiosity, anticipation, and predatory hunger. She was surprising. Not the frail, timid type they expected. She was calm, composed, and carried herself with a quiet strength. Maybe mid-30s, dressed in simple but sharp clothing. No flashy accessories, no trembling voice, no nervous glances. Just piercing eyes, as if she could see right through everyone. A simple name written on the board, Ms. Ryker. The class went quiet for a moment. Not because they were respectful, but because they were preparing. Preparing to test her. Ms. Ryker introduced herself without fanfare. I'm here to teach. That's what I care about. The rest. Irrelevant. Let's begin. It took less than 2 minutes for Blake to throw the first punch. Not literally, but verbally. A snide comment about her boring energy. Kirk followed with a loud yawn. Raven started texting in plain sight, putting her feet on the desk. Ms. Ryker didn't flinch. She simply said, "You 3. Office, now." The class went into shock. Most teachers tiptoed around the circle. To confront them this early? Bold, or foolish? Blake laughed. "You serious, lady? We're not going anywhere." "That's fine," she said, walking calmly to her desk. "Then I'll go. I don't tolerate clowns in my class." She picked up her lesson planner and walked toward the door. The class froze. Wait, she was leaving. Blake's smugness cracked. Whoa, 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 hey, you're just gonna walk away. She turned and gave him a look so cold, so razor-sharp, it sliced through the classroom's tension. I don't waste time where I'm not respected. Make your choice. A moment passed. Blake stood up, puffed his chest. You don't scare me. I don't need to, she replied. But the consequences will. She walked out. And just like that, the legend of Ms. Ryker began. The next day, she returned. No lecture, no punishment. Just placed a stack of worksheets on the desk and sat silently. The class grew restless. They expected yelling. Anger. A breakdown. Instead, they got silence. Yo, what is this? You ain't gonna teach. Kirk snapped. Ms. Ryker replied, I'll teach the moment I have a class worth teaching. That hurt. But it didn't break them. What followed was a war of attrition. Day after day, the class tried everything, insults, chaos, outright defiance. Blake threw a basketball across the room. Kirk played music during lessons. Raven spread rumors about Ms. Ryker's past. One day, someone put chewing gum on her chair. But Ms. Ryker never flinched. Never yelled. Never broke. She let them throw their tantrums, and every time, she responded with the same deadpan composure, when you're ready to learn, I'm here. Students began to wonder, who was she? It was Tyrone, a quiet kid from the back of the class, who dug into her past. What he found shocked him. Ms. Ryker had once served in the military. Not just that, she was a special operations instructor. Combat trained. Tactical strategist. A war veteran who had led missions in active zones. Why she had become a high school teacher was anyone's guess. Tyrone told 2 people. By the next day, the whole class knew. It was like discovering a lion had been watching them from the corner of the room all along. Blake scoffed when he heard. Yeah, right. Just more rumors. But something shifted. Fear. Unease. The next time Ms. Ryker stood silently while Blake bragged and flexed in front of the class, her expression didn't even twitch. But the others noticed, her eyes were calculating. Watching. Waiting. Then came the breaking point. It happened during PE class. Blake and his crew spotted Ms. Ryker walking by the field, talking with Coach Ramirez. An idea sparked. A harmless prank, as they called it. They soaked a dodgeball in mud and hurled it at her back. It hit square in the spine. Ms. Ryker stopped mid-step. The class held its breath. She turned around slowly, mud dripping down her back, and locked eyes with Blake. Her expression. Still calm. But her eyes were fire. She walked across the field, stood face to face with him. Was that you? She asked. Blake smirked. You gonna call mommy? The next 60 seconds would become legend. Ms. Ryker dropped her clipboard. In a blur of movement, she swept Blake's leg from under him, pinned him to the ground with a martial arts lock that left his arm bent in an impossible angle, and whispered something no one else could hear. Blake's face drained of color. She let him go. He stumbled back, clutching his shoulder. Anyone else want to try me? She asked. Silence. Kirk stepped back. Raven dropped her phone. Ms. Ryker turned and walked away, not saying another word. By the next day, Blake was missing from class. When he returned, his swagger was gone. He wouldn't meet Ms. Ryker's eyes. When she handed him a worksheet, he took it quietly. The class wasn't sure what she said to him. But the effect was permanent. Raven stopped mocking her. Kirk deleted his teacher roast YouTube clips. And slowly, like a battlefield calming after the storm, the classroom became quiet. Focused. Respectful. Ms. Ryker never gloated. Never brought up what happened. But her presence now commanded silent respect. She started teaching, not just lessons, but discipline. Confidence. Honor. The students began improving. Tyrone became her unofficial assistant. Even Raven showed signs of becoming human. And one day, Blake stood up before class and said, Ms. Ryker, I was a jerk. I'm sorry. No one breathed. She smiled, just a hint. Took you long enough.